welcome back to the channel. This is Lonnie here at She's So Dramatic. Welcome to another week in my life as a student teacher. Today is Monday, February 22nd, and I woke up with the scariest thought on my mind. You guys, I realized something that I don't think I'm ready for. This is my last week at home. The teachers and the other faculty and staff are required to begin reporting to the building starting next Monday. Oh, I don't know if I'm ready. You guys, I have not had to leave my house to go to work in 10 months. It'll be a year in April since I have had to actually leave my home for my work day. So I am so stinking spoiled. I'm so spoiled, but I can do this. I can do this. So yes, we report to the building starting next week. And I'm just trying to really wrap my head around just beginning to plan again. I have to change the way that I plan. First of all, I have to change my wardrobe because although I'm very professional on top, y'all should see what's going on the bottom. Just like the rest of you, I'm sure. I have on stretch pants on the bottom and I'm not going to be able to do that starting next week. So I've got to think about that. Even just like my lunch and snack, like I'm familiar with the area that our building is in. So I know what I'll be close to, but I don't think I will have time to leave the building to go to lunch, nor do I want to spend that money. So I've got to start thinking about making sure in my grocery shopping trips, making sure that I am getting lunch things and items that I can pack for a work day outside of my house. Let me go ahead and get after it and I'll check in with y'all later. Hey everybody, good Thursday morning. Today is Thursday, February 25th, and it's been a couple of days since I have picked up the camera. This has been kind of a busy week for me. I've had a lot going on other than student teaching, so I'm just trying to keep up with it all, y'all, as I'm sure many of you are as well. I gotta get rid of that notification. But today we have a full day of parent-teacher conferences going on, and I just got off of the virtual meeting with our first one of the day, and I was so excited to hear this mother talk about how my monologue assignment is really motivating her daughter. Like she's really into it and she's been practicing with her mom, and the mom was saying that hopefully this excitement and motivation will spill over into her other classes as well. So that was just good to hear. That was pretty cool. I did want to mention that in the time that it's been since I picked up the camera, I did get this book in that I talked about. Remember, I was mentioning this in a previous clip, this book called Push Out, and the author is Monique Morris. And this is a book that I am excited to read. Just to read you a little bit off of the back cover, this is a statement by Michelle Alexander, who is the author of The New Jim Crow. She says, "It's a powerful indictment of the harsh and harmful experiences confronting Black girls in schools." So, I don't know, I can't say that I have strong memories of feeling this way, but I definitely want to have an understanding for young Black girls who do feel this way. But I had a mom who was a force to be reckoned with, and so I always had the feeling that she had my back, and if there were any situations that were questionable or would make her raise an eyebrow or me raise an eyebrow, she spoke on it and she handled it and she addressed it. So like I said, I don't remember having too many memories of experiencing this myself, but I definitely want to understand young Black girls who are experiencing this and make sure that I have the skill set and the tools and the talking points to be an advocate for them. So I'm anxious to read this book. So I just wanted to share that with you. What else is going on? This is the last week of Black History Month, and today I am featuring my t-shirt, my graphic tee that I got from Target with Zora Neale Hurston on it. It says, oh yeah, and I'm trying to read this read this backwards, but it says, those that don't got it can't show it. Those that got it can't hide it. Okay, Ms. Zora Neale Hurston, you better say that. But yeah, anyway, so this is one of the graphic tees that I got from Target in their Black History line, their Black History Month line. So I love it, love it, love it. So since we are in the last week of Black History Month, this will be my last little segment of Black theater history. And I take that back. It won't be my last segment. This is something that I'm so passionate about. I'm quite sure that I will bring it up from time to time on this channel because this is what I do. But for the sake of Black History Month and the weekly segments that I've been including in my videos, for this week's segment of Black theater history, I would like to feature one of my absolute, my absolute favorite playwright in the world, Mr. August Wilson. So enjoy this little clip. Hey you guys, welcome to the final episode of Black Theater History, presented to you by yours truly, She's So Dramatic. I have really enjoyed adding in these little bits of Black theater history into my weekly videos. It has really just kind of made me enjoy this year's Black History Month all the more. So I have saved the best for last, or at least in my eyes, he's the best. In today's episode of Black Theater History, I'm going to feature my absolute favorite playwright, August Wilson. August Wilson was a Pulitzer Prize and Tony Award-winning playwright who dedicated his art to documenting and preserving the history of African Americans in the 20th century. During his career, he worked to fill a void within American theater that had neglected the African American perspective. By beautifully capturing the Black experience on stage, Wilson gave a voice to an underrepresented group whose narrative had been largely dismissed in the long tradition of theater. Wilson wrote a series of plays known as the American Century Cycle that not only chronicled the Black experience in America, but also celebrated it. He unapologetically believed that ordinary Black life deserved to be told and the history needed to be preserved. Wilson used his characters and their stories to narrate historical events within the action of his plays. He allowed his characters to engage in and carry on the oral tradition that is so valuable in the Black community. You know, we are not that far removed from a time when it was illegal for Blacks to read or write, which resulted in the need for our histories to be preserved and passed on orally. His characters serve as tribal storytellers, not only carriers of the history, but also caretakers of it. And to me, that's one of the things that I treasure most about what I've learned from August Wilson. He often talked about how the dominant culture has this tendency to think they're supposed to be the custodians of everybody else's history. And I feel that it's my job as an educator and an artist to reject that notion and challenge it every time I see it, because we can be the caretakers of our own history. The American Century Cycle is a 100-year saga that captures the very essence of what it was like to be Black in America. The cycle goes much further than just documenting African American history. It's a record of some of the most critical events in our nation's history, and therefore it's a collective history for all Americans. Each play is set in a different decade of the 1900s. So the cycle begins with Gem of the Ocean, set in 1904, Joe Turner's Come and Gone, set in 1911, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, set in 1927, The Piano Lesson, set in 1936, Seven Guitars, set in 1948, Fences, set in 1957, Two Trains Running was set in 1969, Jitney was set in 1977, King Hedley II was set in 1985, and then Radio Golf was set in 1997. So 100 years of African American history on stage. Not only was Wilson a champion of using drama to document the history of his people, but he was also an advocate for the future of Black theater. In 1997, August Wilson delivered his momentous speech, The Ground on Which I Stand, at the National Black Theater Festival, where he examined the exclusion and alienation that still existed for Black theaters at that time. The ratio of Black theaters to white theaters is still significantly imbalanced, which means that the resources and funding for Black theaters is also out of proportion. So because Wilson's work had such an impact on me, I studied him extensively in grad school, and I wrote my thesis on his work and the presence of African rituals in his plays. The plays honor and pay tribute to our ancestors that came before us who laid the foundation. He believed that we've already been given the framework we need to proceed in the world. One of my major points in my thesis was to compare the work of August Wilson to the West African proverb of the Sankofa, which is all about the relationship between our past and our future. Both the Sankofa proverb and August Wilson's American Century Cycle teaches us that we cannot move forward in truth and righteousness until we look back to honor that which came before us. Happy Friday! Oh my gosh. I'm so glad it's Friday, you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that little segment of Black theater history featuring my favorite playwright, August Wilson. In honor of him today, I have on my little American Century Cycle t-shirt that features all 10 of the plays in the American Century Cycle. This is a 100-year biography of the experience of African Americans in this country. I have had the pleasure of working on several of these shows. I've had the distinct honor of assistant directing 2 of them, and that is the last 2 plays in the cycle, which is King Hedley II and Radio Golf at my home theater, KC Melting Pot Theater. So I think I'll include just a couple of little clips that I have or pictures that I have of the cast and crew. But anyway, so it's on my bucket list to be able to work on all 10 plays in the cycle. So I've got a little ways to go, but that is on my lifelong bucket list. That would be a dream. So, okay, what is going on today on Friday? With it being Friday, this is the last Friday of the month. This is my last week here at the house, student teaching. And so that will be no more. I will have to report to the building starting on Monday. So I've got, just some thoughts running through my head about that. I really need to prepare myself this weekend and make sure that I have everything I need. I need to pack a bag. I need to pack a lunch, which I ain't had to do in a minute. But I think I shared with you in a previous clip that I've been trying to get used to the idea of packing my lunch again and packing a bag to take. Yeah, so it'll be different. The only other thing I wanted to mention about going back to the building, I say back to the building like I've been there, girl. only other thing that I want to mention about the kids going back to the building, the students going back to the building. Um, and I know this is a polarizing opinion. I happen to think students belong in the school building, but I understand. I understand the concern. I understand the fear. I don't have all the answers. I'm so torn. I live in a district where my kids have been in school all school year. They've been in face-to-face learning all school year. And I'm grateful because I feel like that's the best thing for my family and for my kiddos. We did have the choice of doing face-to-face learning or doing virtual learning. And so, like I said, for my family, my boys, face-to-face learning is a better fit. They flourish more. They're more successful. They are able to socialize. Like my oldest son needs that socialization a little bit more than my youngest son. And so it's just, I think I've said this before, but I feel like government officials and school district officials, they gave us this impossible choice. They put us in this impossible position of having to choose between our kids' physical health and their mental health. And so what do? You have to do what's best for your family. You have to rely on your faith. You have to put it in God's hands if that's who you believe in. And you have to do what's best for your family. So I say that to say that, I'm grateful that we had that choice. And now here it is at the tail end of the school year, and they are talking about bringing kids back to the classroom. I don't understand that for a couple of reasons. Number one, the date that they're considering right now is back on April 5th. April 5th. They only got April and May, a couple of months. They want to bring students back with a couple of months left in the school year. It's going to take them that long just to get adjusted. It's going to take them just about that long to get adjusted to transportation, to get adjusted to how to, have the kids separated while they're eating, how to have the kids separated while they're doing physical activities like in PE. 2 months. Make it make sense. Somebody make it make sense. I don't understand. Because keep in mind, they're trying to figure out all these logistics in the classroom, like how to block out the teacher's desk so the students don't get too close, how to keep the students' desks separated so they don't get too close to each other. But first of all, that ain't possible. That's not. Who told them that was possible? I don't get it. Because I see the kids at my kids' school. When I go pick them up, I don't care how much separating they try to do in the classroom. When those kids are in the hallways and when they walk outside the door, they gravitate right to each other because they're social creatures. It's not possible, y'all. And I know that's a polarizing statement, a polarizing opinion. Anyway, nevertheless, I don't make the rules. I am new here. I am just a fly on the wall. I don't even know what school or district I will be hired in. So let me just sit back and stay in my lane. On another note, I may have mentioned this before, it will give me the opportunity to be able to experience student teaching in both formats, virtual and face-to-face. And so that is a really unique, I think at the end of the day, I will have had a really unique experience being able to experience both of those. So, I'll put that as a feather in my cap and put it on my resume and keep it moving because that's all I can do at this point. So, okay, so I have been rambling long enough. I hope you have a blessed weekend or whatever day you happen to be catching up on my little videos. Thank you for joining me again for another week in my life as a student teacher. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your interest. If this is something that you enjoy, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. That will certainly help the channel grow. And be sure that you spend time with the people and the things that bring you joy. And remember to find the beauty in everything. Bye, guys.